Constitution of Ukraine. The Constitution of Ukraine was adopted and ratified at the fifth session of the Verkhovna Rada, the Parliament of Ukraine, on June 28, 1996. The constitution was passed with 315 ayes out of 450 votes possible, 300 ayes minimum. All other laws and other normative clarification needed, legal acts of Ukraine must conform to the constitution. The right to amend the constitution through a special legislative procedure is vested exclusively in the parliament. The only body that may interpret the Constitution and determine whether legislation conforms to it is the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. Since 1996, the public holiday Constitution Day is celebrated on 28th of June. On February 7, 2019, the Verkhovna Rada voted to amend the constitution to state Ukraine's strategic objectives as joining the European Union and NATO. President, Parliament and Government. Volodymyr Zelensky. President Denis Shmyhal. Prime Minister. The President is elected by popular vote for a 5-year term and is the formal head of state. Ukraine's legislative branch includes the 450-seat unicameral parliament, the Verkhovna Rada. The parliament is primarily responsible for the formation of the executive branch and the cabinet of ministers, headed by the Prime Minister. The President retains the authority to nominate the Ministers of Foreign Affairs and of Defense for parliamentary approval, as well as the power to appoint the Prosecutor General and the head of the Security Service. Laws, acts of the Parliament and the Cabinet, presidential decrees, and acts of the Crimean Parliament may be abrogated by the Constitutional Court, should they be found to violate the Constitution. Other normative acts are subject to judicial review. The Supreme Court is the main body in the system of courts of general jurisdiction. Local self-government is officially guaranteed. Local councils and city mayors are popularly elected and exercise control over local budgets. The heads of regional and district administrations are appointed by the President in accordance with the proposals of the Prime Minister. 246. Courts and law enforcement. Judicial system of Ukraine and law enforcement in Ukraine. Plovsky Palace, home to the Supreme Court of Ukraine. Martial law in Ukraine was declared immediately upon the beginning of the Russian invasion in February 2022, and continues until at least late April 2022. The courts enjoy legal, financial and constitutional freedom guaranteed by Ukrainian law since 2002. Judges are largely well protected from dismissal, except in the instance of gross misconduct. Court justices are appointed by presidential decree for an initial period of 5 years, after which Ukraine's Supreme Council confirms their positions for life. Although there are still problems, the system is considered to have been much improved since Ukraine's independence in 1991. The Supreme Court is regarded as an independent and impartial body, and has on several occasions ruled against the Ukrainian government. The World Justice Project ranks Ukraine 66 out of 99 countries surveyed in its annual Rule of Law Index. Prosecutors in Ukraine have greater powers than in most European countries, and according to the European Commission for Democracy through Law, the role and functions of the prosecutor's office is not in accordance with Council of Europe standards. The criminal judicial system maintains an average conviction rate of over 99%, equal to the conviction rate of the Soviet Union, with suspects often being incarcerated for long periods before trial. The Cabinet of Ministers building. On March 24, 2010, President Yanukovych formed an expert group to make recommendations on how to clean up the current mess and adopt a law on court organization. 1 day later, he stated, "We can no longer disgrace our country with such a court system." The criminal judicial system and the prison system of Ukraine remain quite punitive. Since January 1, 2010, it has been permissible to hold court proceedings in Russian by mutual consent of the parties. Citizens unable to speak Ukrainian or Russian may use their native language or the services of a translator. Previously, all court proceedings had to be held in Ukrainian. Law enforcement agencies in Ukraine are organized under the authority of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. They consist primarily of the National Police Force and various specialized units and agencies such as the State Border Guard and the Coast Guard services. Law enforcement agencies, particularly the police, faced criticism for their heavy handling of the 2004 Orange Revolution. Many thousands of police officers were stationed throughout the capital, primarily to dissuade protesters from challenging the state's authority but also to provide a quick reaction force in case of need. Most officers were armed. The Ministry of Internal Affairs is also responsible for the maintenance of the State Security Service, Ukraine's domestic intelligence agency, which has on occasion been accused of acting like a secret police force serving to protect the country's political elite from media criticism. On the other hand, however, it is widely accepted that members of the service provided vital information about government plans to the leaders of the Orange Revolution to prevent the collapse of the movement.